RTO. As you can tell by my glasses that it's quite sunny and it's a bank holiday in the UK. Don't get sun on bank holidays. It's quite pleasant out there. Okay, today we're going to start with the last part of the Peter Hammill story. And today we're going to look at some of the collaborations that he did with various artists. On his official site and discography, there are 5 that he's played a major part. I know he's played on the odd track here and there, but we'll be here forever. So we're going to look at 5 albums today. So coming in at number 5, now this is an album that he did with American guitarist Gary Lucas, released in 2014, and it's called Other World. That's it's basically Peter singing with a bit of piano and Gary on the guitar. So the first track is called Spinning Coins. I like this. This is quite a nice little gentle track. It's not a bad vocal from Peter either. I think Gary's guitar work is pretty nice as well. It's a really, really nice song. Some Kind of Fracas. When you've got tracks that are just very, let's say just piano and a bit of vocal, 5 minutes seems far too long from this song. I like the song, but then it goes into a little bitty stage. About 3 minutes into it, it goes very bitty. Up next is of Kith and King. It's okay until Peter adds his own backing vocals, and it really doesn't sound good. The one thing I can criticise, I feel I can criticise him, don't do your own overdub vocals, because it just doesn't sound right. It's a bit awry, that track. Then we have a track called Cash, very similar to what Peter was doing it on his own at the time. It's not a bad track. Built from Scratch, very ambient piece of music. It's got some really nice guitar work on here from Gary. I like that. A Tar of Roses, same ambience as Built from Scratch. Again, we've got some really nice guitar work on that. This is Showbiz, my favourite track on here. It's a fantastic vocal from Peter. Lovely guitar work. It's very simple but good. Reboot is a very disjointed track with lots of noises. Not a great lover of this. It's 6 minutes 55. It just seems to whine on. Black Ice, I like the off-kilter sort of guitar on this. Really works, goes well with Peter's vocals. The Kid, now this has got some great Spanish sounding guitar on it. The vocals are a little bit strange, but that's Peter Hammill. There's nothing wrong with that. Glass, it's an ambient piece of music. It's quite eerie as well. I like that sort of eerie ambient sound. Two Views. This isn't too bad. Another ambient out song. Some nice little bits of guitar. It's a lovely vocal from Peter. We have this short piece called Means to an End. It's a nice little guitar piece. Slippery Slope. It's too long. 7 minutes and 4 seconds. It should have only been about 3 or 4 minutes. It's very uninteresting. I've sort of enjoyed this album in places, but there's too many long tracks and you sort of get distracted. It's a bit of a hit and miss for me, this one, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Okay, coming in number 4. Now this is an album that Peter did with ambient musician Roger Eno, and it was released in 2001, and it's called The Appointed Hour. First track on here is Up. It's got some lovely bits of piano. It's quite sultry, it's moody. I quite like that. It's very, as I say, it's got a lovely ambience to that one. Are They? Very sultry again. The piano just changed, the tones on the piano do change the tone of the piano and the mood of the song. It's a very short piece, but it goes straight into the next track, Your Heart. Some lovely strings in this. The only slight criticism, it's just too long. It's coming in at nearly 6 minutes. Doesn't need to be. And this very relaxing, some lovely piano on that. My favourite piece though is Wise Men. It's got that relaxed, eerie ambient sound. The tone on the keyboards is fantastic. So how? It's another short piece. It's sort of repeating what we've heard before. There's no distinguished pieces. It all seems the same thing. Strings. To know, another short piece. Sounds like it's come straight off a soundtrack album because I don't know what it is. It's just one of them short interludes. Up next is a track called Fools. It's a lovely piano piece. It's okay. Should have been part of Fools. I think it would have been better if it was just continuation. Where it's a nice little piano piece as well to tread, and more piano, and then Fool's Rush just continues with this repetitive piano piece. By this stage I was getting, oh, not another track like this. Then we have Fear. It just seems a continuous piece of piano music. Then we change things for Open. There's a little bit synthesizer, but it's not much going on. Never, more ambient noises, but it's very good. It's a very well structured piece. Rush In, it's 57 seconds. They should have just tacked it on to Never. But comes next. Like this one, a little bit of synthesizer and piano breaks the song up with some strings. It's not too bad. In Love, we go back to the singular piano piece. It's pleasant. It goes on a bit though. Angels, I'm going to say it was boring. I couldn't find anything good about it. Fall, now this is lovely. It's a wonderful melody. It gets you hooked in. It's got a rhythm to it, and it's a nice piece of music. Okay, this has got some lovely piano playing on it, but once you've heard one bit of solo piano, it just, I just didn't get on with this album as much as I thought I would. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 3. Now this is from 1988, and it's an album called Spur of the Moment that Peter done with Guy Evans, the drummer from Van der Graaf Generator. So they play all the instruments on this. So the first track is called Sweating It Out. My favourite track on here, the bit of piano sounds like it's being played on a Fisher-Price piano, which is quite quirky, and I love Guy's percussion in this. Excellent track. Surprise, we'll get another little piece of quirky piece of music. I don't know what he's playing on what tone it is, but it really sounds good. It really stands out. Little did he know, some really nice percussion on this from Guy. He's a very good drummer. He creates these sort of little drum rolls really good without a glitch. It's not too bad. It's got a nice flow to it. Atonal's Proposal, the different combination of keyboards in this really works. You've got this keyboard that does the melody line, and then you've got another one that does like the lead, and the drumming is pretty good, really good. You Think Not. I love the keyboards on this again. Peter's got some really nice tones going on here. Multiman is a little bit bitty. Doesn't flow very well. Deprogramming Archie, again, it's a little bit bitty. I wouldn't jump up and down for this one. Just a little bit disjointed. Always so polite. This has got an oriental feel to it at the beginning, and then it goes into this soulful thing. Really good. An Imagined Brother, it seems like it's two tracks just joined together, playing simultaneously. It just didn't work for me. Then we have Bounced. It's okay. That's what I'll say. It's got a nice little sound to it. And then Roger Eno, my second favourite track on here. I love Guy's percussion on this. And then got this sort of twinkly sort of keyboard sounds. Not a bad way to end the album. This is a mixed bag album. It has got some really good tunes on it. A couple that are a bit out there for me. But on the whole, I quite like listening to this. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in number 2. Now, this is first of 2 albums that Peter did a collaboration with a band from Sweden, and they're a sort of orchestral symphonic band, and they're called Isildurs Bane. And in 2019, they put an album out together in Amazonia. Now, Peter Hammill does the vocals, of course. Now, these are Scandinavian names, and I'm not very good at pronouncing them, so I do apologise. So we've got Samuel Halkevist on guitar, Karin Nakagawa on koto and voice, Mats Johansson on synths, Katrine Armsler on keyboards, Luca Calabrese on drums, Elizabeth Labreche on violin, Axel Krohn on bass and pianos, Kjell Sverrisson on drums and percussion, and Klaus Arsson, I think that's how you pronounce it, on marimba and vibes. So the first track on here is a little piece called Before You Know It. I like this. I like the electronic sounds. I like the little bit of vocal from Peter. It really works. It's a long track. It's 7 minutes, but it's really good. Under the Current is a very ambient song. A fantastic vocal from Peter. This is what I'd call a modern day sort of Van der Graaf generator. It's really, really good. Aguirre, not keen on this. The vocal from Peter's a little bit off key for me. Then we got this long track called This Is Where, very new wave. I love the bass line. It's even got glockenspiel on it. Flows really well. It's a really strong track. Then we have The Day Is Done. It's a little bit too long at 9 minutes. Not like, the other one was longer, but it's a little bit in the middle that didn't need to be there. Then we have The Bird Has Flown. Pretty irritating. So the keyboards are all over the place. The violin is screechy, irritates your ears. Now, this is the first time I've heard this band, and we will be looking at them. They're on the list now. There's some really good tracks on here. It's a little bit different. I quite enjoyed this album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7.3. But my favourite album, my number 1 album of these collaborations, is the second one that he did with Isildurs Bane, and it's called In Disequilibrium, and that came out in 2021. Same lineup. I'll go through this. It's Peter, Catherine, Klaus, Luca, Axel, Samuel, Mats, Elizabeth, Iain, and Kjell. So the first part is the title track, which is it's split into 3 parts, I think. Was it 4? Let's make sure. Yes, it's 3 parts. In Disequilibrium. Part 1 is great. It's got a lovely vocal from Peter. It's got some marimba in there, and the vibes it's really put together nice. Flows lovely, and it goes literally straight into part 2. And I really like this piece as well. So it's an excellent vocal from Peter. I just love the use of the marimbas on this, and the drumming is very, very good. But my favourite part, and my favourite bit of the whole album, is part 3. As you know, I love marimbas, and there's plenty of that on this. It's got a great bass line. It's got a bit of a groove, some nice keyboard work on this. It's a very, very good track. The next track is Gently Step by Step Part 1. This track has got 4 parts. Now, the first part is this very sort of short piece with like a bit of an intro with some nice keyboards on it. There's some sound effects. The keyboard work is particularly good, especially that little bit of piano. Part 2 this is very sort of what Peter was doing in the 80s. It's that vocal delivery as well. The use of the marimba on this album is terrific. I love the drumming on this as well. It's a very good piece. Then we get this part 3 is another short piece. It's a short piece that sort of glues it together. It's very moving and ambient, and that goes into part 4, which is one of them tracks where Peter's doing the off-key singing, which really works with the sound. It's a really interesting piece of music. It's 8 minutes long, but you just don't know it's going to be 8 minutes. It flows really well. Now, I think this is a cleverly put together album. I think it's got some nice arrangements on it. This band are pretty good. It'll be interesting to listen to their other stuff. But I think this is a great album. I really enjoyed listening to this one. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. So there we go. That is Peter Hammill. I've really enjoyed this because past 1980, I hadn't heard much of Peter's stuff. So it was a really interesting, and I know a lot of you guys have enjoyed us doing Peter Hammill. So when we come back on the 9th of September, we're starting a new story. And I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. When I am having that break, I will put together, I'm actually doing it beforehand, and I shall put it out on the Thursday with what's on next week. All I shall say that our next artist started recording in the 60s and has made, and they're still recording in the 21st century, and he's a singer, songwriter, and has inspired so many people. So you'll find out very shortly who we're going to be diving into. Okay, coming up next is A Perfect Side, and I thought I'd do a Beatles album, and I thought, which one shall I do? And I didn't know which one to do, so in the end I put them on a wheel and I just randomly picked the one that it came up with. And it came up with Rubber Soul. So that's what I'll be listening to, we've been listening to, and I'll tell you what is my favourite side on it very soon. Bye for now.